Hello, welcome one, welcome all, my dear Africans, dear colleague, friends here in the continent, and to those who are in the diaspora. Let us thank God for keeping me alive. We have met again in this platform where we come together to share our thoughts, ideas on how we can change things on the ground and providing best solutions for our challenges. So, my dear kings and queens, today I come to you for one thing on how we can make Africa a superpower. But because there's no reason for Africa to become a weak continent while we have all things that can make us a superpower. So, my dear kings and queens, let us start with the good news from Burkina Faso that Burkina Faso just paid almost 4.79 billion US dollar of its national debt without Western aid, set to become free debits country. So things is possible. Africa, we can pay our debits. Africa cannot depend on loans from IMF and the World Bank. If we can plan our things well, I hope Africa we can become debt free because we have everything that can make us debt free. So let us go back to our today's topic, the issue of how we can make this continent a superpower. Before starting anything or sharing my thoughts on the issue of how to make Africa a superpower, first of all, we need to have an organization, continental organization that bring all of us together, and the organization that is sponsored by Africans, that is working for Africans. Yes, we have African Union, but we need the African Union that is responsible for Africans. The African Union that is strong representing Africans. You see? Not the African Union that are being sponsored by the West, being sponsored by the eastern parts of the world, China. We want the African Union that is responsible for Africans, that is sponsored by Africans. So first of all, we need a strong African Union. To become a superpower, we want a strong African Union. Or if African Union, it looks like it is not going to take us out from this situation, we can come up with another formation of a united Africa. That yes, we have African Union, but we need to have a united Africa, not African Union, a united Africa, where Africans will be there represented, and our leaders will work for the united Africa. You see, then we can make Africa a superpower. We want the African Union or our continental body that will sit down and say, we are going to use uranium of Niger to supply energy in the continent of Africa or in the western part of the continent. We are going to use resources in Democratic Republic of Congo to make sure that we are going to have our own industries of electronic devices and mobile phones, smartphones, satellites, something like that. We want the African Union or continental body that can sit down and say from now and then, we want to make sure that the whole continent is under peace and security, where we are going to have a standby army that will make sure that there's a peace in this continent. You see, we want the continental body that will say no any foreign country will install their military base here in the continent of Africa, because even we, the people of Africa, we didn't install our military base in their home countries. But if they want Africa to have military base, they want to install their military base here in the continent of Africa, also Africa must also put military base in their home country. So if America want to install military base, also Africa have to set a military base in Washington or in New York. The same they are doing to us. If it's Russia, the same. If it is China, the same. We want a continental body that can say something like that. We want a continental body that will say, we don't want our resources to be exported into raw forms, because our young men and women are suffering the shortage of job opportunities and employment opportunities. We have seen many of our young people being died or drowned into Mediterranean Sea, in Atlantic Seas, Indian Ocean, when they're trying to search or to find green pasture outside there. We want a continental body that can say, from now and then, we don't want to see our young men and women dying into seas and dying into oceans. Green pasture will be here in the continent of Africa. So we need such kind of a continental body. We need a continental body that will say, we are not going to import military equipment. Maybe after 20 years, we are going to have our own military equipment. We are not going to import guns, import bullets, and those kind of stuffs. We can manufacture here. You know, Africans, we have creators, we have innovators. The problem that we are not embracing them, we are not supporting them, we are not appreciating because of corruption and embezzlement in our government. That's why you see those who are initiating tenders are those who are getting 10% of money of buying weapons and other kind of stuff. Yes, I know technologically maybe we are weak, but we can find a way. We can collaborate with Russia, with America, or China. Yes, we have resources. We have uranium. Yes, we want our uranium. So do come and we are going to give you our uranium. So, but when you manufacture weapons, half of your weapons will come to us, and the half will remain with their half. You see, if we are going to use our uranium to create 10 bombs or 20 bombs, 10 will come to Africa, will come to Africa. 5, or if we are going to create 10, 5 will come to Africa. Something like that. We need to set a good terms and negotiations. I hope we can become powerful. We want the continental body that can say, we are tired of being fed by others. We don't know what they put in on the food that they bring to us. From now and then, we are going to use our horrible land, our water, our land to feed ourselves, to produce enough food, to feed the entire continent, to feed our people. We want a continental body that can say, we have trees, we have everything, grasses and plants. Let us, those who are innovators, make sure that they produce medicine here in the continent of Africa. Because our ancestors survived several challenges, but they used trees, leaves to cure diseases. So it is possible. It is possible. So, kings and queens, what is your opinions? What is your thought on how we can make Africa a superpower? Share with us your opinions. What do you think, and how we can make Africa a superpower? So today, that is our today's topic, and of course we are going to close the year 2024. So when we welcome the year 2025, let us come with the idea on how we can make Africa a superpower. Slowly we can achieve. You know, there's a say, when you want to consume the elephant, you cannot consume the whole elephant at once. Slowly, at the end of the day, the elephant will be finished, and that's what we are doing here. So, in order for us to make Africa a superpower, we must start slowly. So, let us continue after this preamble, these words. Let us continue with our topic. My dear kings and queens, what are we lacking to make Africa a superpower? Let me ask you one question. What the country of Congo lack? Because Congo has democratic government, Congo has resources, Congo has all kind of minerals, in this world. Critical minerals are there. Congo has liver, if you are talking about water. Congo has forest, amazing forest, where logs and natural timbers are coming from. Congo has everything. Horrible land are there. What Congo lack? And why Congo is the poorest country in this continent as well as in the world? What Congo lack? They have been told us we need democratic government. Congo has a democratic government. What's the difference between Congo and Burkina Faso? Burkina Faso has a military leader. Congo, of course, they say that those are not undemocratic. That's how they define the government in Sahel, in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. They said undemocratic government. So Burkina Faso has undemocratic government, but Congo has democratic government that the West wants. But why Congo is not at peace? Why Congo is poor? Despite all of the things that Congo they have. Congolese have everything. They are so rich. But look the lives of the people in Democratic Republic of Congo. Why there's no peace in Democratic Republic of Congo? My dear kings and queens, there's an important issue that Africans will need to realize, that unity is our salvation. We cannot achieve or make Africa a superpower without united, without coming together. How can we achieve Africa Continental Free Trade Area if we are not united, if we are not working together? Sometimes when you hear our leaders gathered in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, maybe sometimes you think they are going to solve some challenges, but at the end of the day, you find they are there sometimes to greet each other. You see? Why Africa we cannot solve the challenge of conflict here in the continent of Africa? Why we cannot bring peace in Sudan? Why we cannot bring peace in Democratic Republic of Congo? Why? I don't understand. I don't understand this, and I will not understand, of course, that the whole continent we have failed to bring peace in DRC. We have failed to bring peace in Sudan. And why there is a conflict in the areas where there is resources? If you had the area where there is no resources, there is conflict in this continent? No. Where there is resources, there is a conflict. But who is responsible for peace? It's we, the people of Africa. Sometimes, as I said, you wonder that our leaders sometimes quote some words from Kwame Nkrumah, Thomas Sankara, and Nyerere, but when it comes to implementation or to action, they are doing different issues. They are talking about, our founding fathers are so visionary. If you heard one day our leaders came together in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, saying that maybe by the year 2030 we are going to collapse these borders. Have you heard such kind of thing? Have you heard our leaders talking about maybe by the year 2030 we are going to have a single government, even though they are not serious about those issues? Are they planning about, do we have any schedule to talk about a united Africa? People are talking Agenda 2063, goals of Agenda 20, integration, something like that. If we talk about, let us set an agenda, or set agendas that by the year 2030, we are going to start with borderless continent. We are going to have maybe our own currency. We are going to have our own army. So I think that is making sense. But to say we have Agenda 2063, because many of us will not be there, so we are cheating each other. Let us set plans. Those generations who are coming must work on our footprints. You see, for instance, these leaders in Sahel, within a short time, they come with their alliance of Sahel states. They said we are going to have the alliance of Sahel states. Even Africa, we need to have our own plans that by the year 2030, by the year 2040, we are going to have this and this. We need to accomplish this and this. Then by the end of the year 2063, we have achieved maybe 2 or 4 things, or 3 things, maybe single currency, or single army, or we are going to have borderless continent, silence of the guns. But we have been saying the issue of the silence of the gun for almost 10 years. Till today, nothing has changed. Instead, we continue to hear guns in different parts of this continent. So, my dear kings and queens, it is paining. It is paining that sometimes we need to plan, but we are not planning. Of course, to be a superpower, first of all, we need to have strong leadership in the continent. We need to work together. We need to have peace and security. Let us start with few things. For instance, let us start with the issue of peace and security. When we talk about peace and security, there's peace. When we talk about Africans, they don't need conflict, wars. We have to silence all these conflicts and wars here in the continent of Africa. And also, we need to have enough food. We're talking about food security, where our people can have assured that they cannot die with hunger. So let us start with the issue of conflict and wars in the continent. You know, my dear kings and queens, one thing that the continent of Africa is so blessed is that we have many leaders who are soldiers and leaders who know the fights, conflicts, and understand very well these challenges. For instance, we have President Museveni. You know very well that Museveni is a fighter. He fought war in Uganda. Also, we have President Paul Kagame. He fought the war to liberate Rwanda during the genocide. So we have leaders who know very well the issue of conflict and wars. We have Captain Ibrahim Traore. He know very well the issue of peace and security. We have Assimi Goita. He know very well the issue of peace and security, how to fight, and of course these young leaders are still fighting with jihadists. So to bring peace and security in this mother continent Africa, I have been suggested this that we need our leaders, especially those who are in military. For instance, we have President Museveni, as I said, we have President Paul Kagame, we have Abdulrahman Tiani of Niger, we have Mamadou Doumbouya of Guinea, we have this young vision leader, Captain Ibrahim Traore, we have also Assimi Goïta, and many other. So if these leaders can come together and mobilize their resources, mobilize their soldiers, I'm sure within 1 month, Africa will be free of conflict. War will be silenced all over the continent. The problem that we have, our leaders are not working together. Our leaders are not supporting each other. That is the problem that we have. So, you know, sometimes there's those who say, you know, these conflicts are being engineered by outsiders. Yes, maybe true, but how many outsiders are fighting here in the continent of Africa? How many? How many? Tell me. How many? Who allowed these outsiders to install their military base here in the continent of Africa? It's we Africans. It's we Africans who have done this. But look, today we are congratulating the countries of Sahel for closing France's military base. What about others? What about other African leaders? Why don't they take the same steps to make sure that They are going to close all foreign military bases here in the continent of Africa. And of course, research has been done that these foreign bases are those who are supplying weapons and destabilizing our mother continent, Africa. So we know the problem, but we don't take the actions. So who will take the action on behalf of us? So it needs all of us, the people of Africa, to be aware and to take decisive actions. The same the people in Sahel, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso did. You see, recently you heard about Chad. Chad had cut tie with France in terms of military cooperation. So it is possible. If it is America, let us cut and close all U.S. base here in the continent of Africa. Yes, we want partnership, we want to do business with the U.S., with other countries, but why they want to put their military base here in the continent of Africa? Why? So I think sometimes we need to think beyond. The problem that we have, we don't think the future. We are thinking today, these countries are coming with money. For instance, if France want to install their foreign base or US, they come with money. So they give us money, I'm going to help you in this and this. But after that, what happened? What next? You see, I think we need to think, to be more questionable about what does this foreign base are doing here in the continent of Africa. So through that, I hope we can secure our territories, our continent, and of course our countries can be free. So you cannot be free if you have other military or troops in your country. So you have US troop or France troop or UK troop that you can't control. And those troops are being controlled by someone else far from here. So how can you control? And of course, we have heard the story of Ghana, that the US soldiers who are coming to Ghana, they are not being asked about the visa, they are not asked about what they have done in the court. This civilian court cannot do anything to them. So whom to blame? Whom to blame? It's we, the people of Africa. So I think our soldiers, leaders who are soldiers must have a meeting on how they are going to save this continent. If you look history, our founding fathers came together at that time when there's a difficult infrastructures. They came together to unite this continent. But the current generation of leaders, I don't see they are coming together. I don't see. Yes, they come together, they discuss about continental free trade area, but how can we implement continental free trade area or African continental free trade area without having peace? Can we pass our goods from Democratic Republic of Congo to Niamey in Niger? Do we have those infrastructures? Do we have peace? Are we sure that our goods cannot be robbed? Are we sure that there's no conflict in those zones? Today, as I speak to you now, there's a conflict in Sudan. Who can pass through Sudan? When we talk about the continental free trade area or free movement of people and goods, can we pass through Sudan? Can we pass through Democratic Republic of Congo? So I think we need to come together to see what we can do to achieve. Yes, we have good plans, but first of all, let us make sure that we have peace. Those continental free trade areas can work if Africa has peace. So first of all, I think our leaders have to come together. Those who are in military position, like as I said, President Kagame, President Museveni, Captain Traore, Abdulrahman Chan, and others who are soldiers, must come together. Of course, this is my appeal to them. I'm asking to them that there's a need for them to help this continent. So I hope they can solve the challenge of peace and security. And also on the issue of food and security, food security. We know very well that Africa is the continent with horrible land, fertile land. So why Africa we cannot produce enough food? Let us go back a little about the issue of peace and security. Without having peace and security, our farmers cannot go to farms. Our farmers cannot produce food. There's no time for them to stay in farms uh, growing crops or growing foods. So it will be difficult for Africa to have food security because of these conflicts. And sometimes these conflicts are distracting farms by using bombs. People are crossing there, so they distract our farms. So I think peace, security is very, very, very important for us. We need, first of all, to silence guns here in the continent of Africa to bring peace. Then from there we can start producing enough food for our people. Recently you heard about Malawi being affected by hunger. People in Malawi are struggling to get food. But I'm sure if Africa we are so working together, united, there's no need for Ukraine to supply food to Malawi. I think this is a small issue that Africa can solve. But because we are not working together, Africa, we are struggling with food insecurity. So we can solve food insecurity. We can design. We know our condition. We know our countries. Maybe country A is famous for producing bananas. Country B is famous for producing wheat. Country X can produce maize. So we can give those tasks to certain countries to make sure that they produce enough. And through that, I hope we can learn industrialization. We can encourage young men and women to have jobs. You see, but because we are not doing in such a way, that's why you see we are still struggling with the shortage of food. So, my dear kings and queens, I think we can tackle the issue of hunger and food insecurity by making sure that we bring peace. Then we invest in agriculture. You know, I hope you watched the video when I shared Captain Ibrahim Traore about tractors. Just imagine if every country have bought tractors to support their local farmers. So do you think we'll have struggling with the shortage of food? Yes, there's those who said maybe, you know, there's some weather, climatic changes and something like that, a natural disaster. Yes, I know, but not the whole continent is being affected by the natural disasters. So let us not hide behind these natural disasters. Let us play our part as the people of Africa. So Captain Ibrahim Traore succeeded to feed the people, his people, and the people in Sahel now, you see, they have enough food. It is good, it is good, it is possible. So let us invest in agriculture. Let us invest in agriculture. We can do better. So on the issue of leadership, of course, I've been saying this many times. Africa, we embrace democracy. We want democratic governments, but sometimes these democratic governments have a lot of challenges, and it is better to have leaders like Captain Ibrahim Traore, who came through coup 10 times or 100 times, than to have these periodic elections. These leaders who are periodically elected, sometimes they have been sponsored by the West to destabilize and to learn the agenda of the West. And that's why you see sometimes you find the country has everything, but the country has no much development. For instance, let me ask you one question. What Congo lack? Congo has everything. Congo has horrible land. Congo has water through River Congo. Congo has minerals. All the critical minerals are found in Congo. And recently you read about Congo compliant, files compliant about Apple for buying those what you call conflict minerals from Rwanda, according to Democratic Republic of Congo. So you see, Congo has everything. What Congo lack? But Congo has democratic government. You have everything. What are you lucky, you, my dear brothers and sisters in Congo? You have democratic government, you have minerals, you have water, River Congo, and even Inga Dam is in Democratic Republic of Congo, one of the mega projects of hydroelectric power that can produce enough electricity to supply all over the continent. and the surplus can be supplied to other continents. But Congo is the poorest country in this world. People are coming to Congo and become rich. What are we lacking? Leadership? Creativity? What are we lacking? So that's why I'm saying sometimes we need to have leaders like Traore, who came to power through military coup. Of course, as I said, I don't mean that we want military coup. We want democracy. We are democratic government, and we want democratic government changes. So, but when it comes sometimes to take decisive decisions, we need to take decisive decisions. We cannot tolerate this kind of things that are going here or are going on the ground. You have everything. God has given everything, but you are poor. Whom to blame? So I think the issue of leadership must be addressed here in the continent of Africa. We need to address the issue of leadership. But if I have the opinion, our leaders are so selfish. Some of them are so selfish. Why don't they come together? Of course, unite and have a single or a united Africa. You will remain with your territory or state. We'll call those are just states. State of Nigeria, state of Uganda, state of Ethiopia, state of Djibouti. Those will be states. Why don't we unite this continent and say from now and then we want to have a united Africa where our minerals in Democratic Republic of Congo will be used to produce enough mobile phones, smartphones, and electronic devices to supply here in the continent of Africa, where the uranium in Niger and also uranium in Namibia are going to power the entire continent of Africa. What's wrong for our leaders to come together? So, our leaders sometimes, I don't know what they think about. We are here temporary and we will move out. We are here temporary. No one will stay here for maybe thousands of years. So let us make things that people will remember you, that you have done this and this and this. You see, if Africans, we can think about the future, there's no need for us to continue with these small territories that we have. So I think to tackle the issue of leadership, we need to come together. We need to unite. Let us unite and remove these borders, collapse these borders, colonial borders, and then let us having a united Africa. So from there, I hope we can come up with good leaders who will learn this continent and for the benefit of the coming generation and generation to come. On the issue of science and technologies, and of course, Africa, we are so good in innovation. Many technologies have been innovated by Africans. Even these Western technologies that you see today, many of them have been innovated by slaves during slave trade and even during colonialism. Africans are those who did great things in innovation, you see, but Africa are not being embraced, and sometimes this technology are being taken by others. But if you say Africa, we are poor technologically, I disagree with you. Africans, we are good. The problem that we have, we are not publicizing our things, and we are not supporting our things. You remember during COVID, some young men and women innovated ventilators in Senegal, in Kenya, in Tanzania. I watched at that time in televisions. You see, you remember even in Madagascar came with medicine of COVID-19 at that time. So Africans, we are good in innovation. We need to support and to invest in innovation and researches. The problem, we have corrupt people in our systems. Africa, we have been affected much by corruptions. That is also the challenge that I think we need to tackle. Of course, the problem of corruption is initiated by we, who sometimes we call educated people. Educated people, we are so eager, we are so arrogant. We want to accumulate. We have the mentality of wealth accumulation. So you find someone have a lot of houses, a lot of cars because of arrogance. But all in all, my dear kings and queens, we can tackle corruption if we can come together, if we can think about the future. You know, sometimes I don't know in our schools how we have been told, because you find, and one thing of course I don't understand, Africans, many of us, we are religious, but we are thief. Many of us, we are thief. We are religious and we are thief. We pretend we love God, we are the man of God or men of God, but we are thief. Many of us, we are thief. So we can tackle corruption if we think about others and we think about the coming generation. Through that, I hope we can solve many things if we can stop corruption. And of course, to stop totally, it is difficult, but we can reduce these corruption acts in our continents so that the people of Africa can enjoy the fruits of their resources. You know, even these contracts that you see, we find that we have signed poor contracts with the Western power or with some multinational companies. It is because of corruption. Someone gets small amount, then he sold us and he betrays us for his or our own interest. So I think we need to fight corruption for Africa to become a superpower. And also, one thing that is very important, Africa, we need to have nuclear. As I said to these leaders, military leaders, they need to initiate or starting to have nuclear power. We cannot, the continent of 54 or 55, we don't have nuclear power. We need a nuclear power. We have uranium, we have everything. Let us allow our young men and women to invest and to do research on how they are going to create nuclear power. It is possible. No one is coming from the heaven and to create these things. It is the people who are in the ground can do those things. So Africans, I hope if we can come together, we can have nuclear power. From there, we can be respected. Today, you have heard about the story of Africa demanding 2 permanent seats in the UN Security Council. Yes, we want 2 permanent seats, but I'm telling you the truth. We'll be given the 2 permanent seats, but it will become useless because they will give us 2 permanent seats without veto power. So someone can neutralize your vote. So we are weak. We need nuclear power to be strong. You see today Russia and the Western countries, no one wants to touch Russia because they know Putin has held the button. So if Putin can press the button on, I think you know what will happen. Things will turn upside down. So even in Africa, we need to have nuclear power so that to become respected and to protect also our interests. Also, kings and queens, Africa, we need also to invest more in researches, of course, in education. Our education system that we have today, many of them we inherited from our former colonizers, so it is not suitable for the current environment and for the people of Africa. We are still using these colonial syllabuses and curriculums, so I think we need to change something. But one thing that I want to say, no one will come and tell us how to change it. It's we, the people of Africa, who need to, who are supposed to change those curriculums and our education systems. So we need to teach our people how to add value to our God, how to process uranium, how to process diamond, how to process lithium. That's what we need to teach our children, not to teach them about how many legs the grasshoppers, how many legs the millipedes have, those are things that I think for this era it is useless. Yes, we need to understand those things, but it will not take us far from here. So I think we need to change to teach our people the truth about our resources and how we are going to add value to our resources. So, my dear kings and queens, those are just my opinions concerning about how we can make this continent a superpower. Finally, and this is an important, the issue of unity. Here is where Africa, we have failed. We need to unite the people of Africa. Africans in the continent and those who are in the diaspora, we need to come together to work together. And of course, we need to welcome our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, because there are so many exposures. They can come and share with those who are in the continent, so that we can try to create something new, something hybrid. So, but the problem that we who are in the continent, we fear those who are in the diaspora because of our ego and our arrogance, that we feel maybe they will come and take power. That's not true, my dear brothers. So don't worry about our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. These are just our relatives. So let us welcome them here in the continent of Africa and give them an opportunity to contribute here in our mother continent, Africa. So, my dear kings and queens, with those few words, of course, let me say thank you for your time. You have been here for almost 25 minutes, watching, listening. So thank you for your contribution. I see comments. So that's a good move. And of course, the year 2025, it must be the year of revolutions here in the continent of Africa. We want things to change. We want Africa to move forward. So have a nice time. See you next time.